Welcome learners. Do you love the Gmail app with the user experience it gives? For example, if you slide right, you can archive that email. More upon, you'll be seeing the same feature even if you're using an Yahoo Mail app. How do you use those animations? They're absolutely beautiful. Well, we are going to do the same as I'm going to teach to you how we can have slider animations onto your list items. We'll be learning in detail how the edit and the delete functionality can be handled. Even I'm going to show to you how you can understand what is the importance of keys into the app. Well, what's a key? Find it out in the session. Let me lay down the blueprint for this session wherein I'm going to change the screen design for our display task screen. So basically, presently the screen design has been showing the task name followed by a delete and an edit icon. What I intend to do is like Gmail, when you swipe to the right side, there would be this icon coming in. For example, this would be swipeable, and if you swipe it to the right side, the delete and the edit icon will show up. In order to do this, I'm going to use this Flutter slidable plugin. What in fact I have done is added this slidable plugin over here in the dependencies. Next, what I'm going to try and do, give you a quick recall of what we had done into display task screen. If you would remember, we had created this task notifier which kind of was keeping a track of how many tasks we have. For example, buying groceries, buying a shirt, and buying a movie ticket. Presently, over here, we have this task item widget which displays the list of items in this particular manner. Well, it kind of is very off as we have been following good design with the help of this Figma link or this Figma project, wherein we got that purple color with a black background design for our to-do app. Now if I closely take you inside the task listing screen, that's over here. Yeah, over here again there is a small issue. You actually are unable to see the delete as well as the edit functionality. Well, so I resorted to this particular manner wherein this task item widget now will be modified and will be implemented with a slidable widget. I hate people who are memorizing the code and in fact memorizing the plugin code. So what I'm going to show to you is simply following the documentation that the plugin would be giving and then writing your own code. So let's say when we run into the documentation, this is the way in which we can implement the slidable. Let us copy this. Next, what I'll try and do is over here, I'll cut this stack and put it in the comment section below, and let me again copy this slidable and put it here. You'll notice that this slidable along with this particular import works perfectly okay. Just the thing is over here we get errors. That's because it has been a const, and secondly I have to change this with a build context parameter. Let me copy this, paste it here. Similarly, on the end action pane, let me paste it here and here. Now, when I try to run my app, let me show you how do you see this design. So here's my app doing a hot restart. And you see the slide me. Well, that's because over here the list tile actually shows slide me. Let me remove this and keep my task name that shall appear. Well, now I can do right to left swipe in which I get archive and the save option. That's because there is something called as end action pane. On same grounds, I can do left to right swipe wherein I get delete and share. That's because over here I have the children wherein slidable action shows two items as delete and share. Let me remove this end action pane. And then I want your attention to be on this dismissible. Over here, with the help of this logger, let me show it to you when this dismissible plane will get called. I'll copy this, put it over here. Delete item was pressed. And I'll put it over here as edit along with the edit icon, which is a simple pencil icon. Edit item was pressed. Let's try running the app. Now, if I try to do right to left swipe, it does not get anything. That's because I removed the end action pane, and left to right now gives me these two options. Well, if I tap on the delete, I get delete item was pressed. If I tap on edit, I get edit item was pressed. But what is this dismissible? Well, this dismissible actually resembles that I can just swipe it to the complete right and remove it. But in this case, there's going to be an issue. For example, if I now do a hot reload, you get this kind of an error. Well, let me drag your attention to something called as key. This is a relatively new concept and I want to make your awareness around this. Key kind of resembles a unique key that you can give to a widget. For example, there are 3 items onto my to-do list, and if I want to give a unique key, I can change the number here, or in fact there's something called as unique key also been available. What I'll next do, if you remember, we had this delete task. If I see this, presently it's not been used anywhere. Hence, what I'll try and do is over here, I'll put provider.off, put task notifier, and delete the task that I would want to have. Since I don't want any changes here, I'm going to say listen as false. Now, what I have done is given a unique key and also deleted the task. Let's try doing a hot restart. So we see there are 3 items. Now, I'll try to swipe and in fact dismiss the entire thing. Did you notice? It smoothly slided up and now it's showing 2 items. I can try and do it again. And you see there's only 1 item left. That's basically we are deleting the task and also we have added an animation like a slider to it. This kind of is going to be good to our user because he can then either edit or accomplish by deleting the task again and again. What I'll next do is keep the background color with black and over here this slidable, I can wrap this in a container and then I'll not need the size box because I can eventually assign a height to my container. Yeah, so the reason for changing it to a container is I can try and play along by the decoration. So for example, over here I can set the color to color constants dot k purple color. Well, let's try seeing our design wherein it has got a like a slight shade of gray. So let me pick this gray color and I'll add it to my color constants. Now you notice that there is this gray color, and let me go to the task item widget, put this K gray color, and this kind of looks very ugly. Well, what I would want to do is put a padding as edge insets in which left and right I would want to have a 10 pixels padding, and let me have the text widget here in which I'll set up the text style with white color. Let's try and see how does this thing look like. Well, this kind of looks decent, but I'm not quite satisfied with how the box is appearing. So let me put border radius dot circular as 10 and also repeat this for margin. Yeah, now what I'll try and do, I'll try to put this today as well as this university. Well, we don't have any tag as university. Let me try putting this outline wherein we have the flag for the most priority task. Now, do you notice they are one below the another? Hence, as you might have guessed, now this entire child should have been in a column widget wherein below the column I'll have a row. The row will have two items. One, if the user has deliberately put any time duration. For example, let's say I'll put a text and let me check what is the color. So I'll put over here gray text color and I'll change it over here. Today at 8:15. Next, I'll change the text style color constants dot k gray text color and I'll put a slightly smaller font size. Let's try and see how does this thing look like. Well, it's kind of off That's because I did not align it. Let me change the main axis alignment to center and the cross axis alignment to start. Did you notice? Now on y axis it's on the center and x axis it is left aligned. Well, that's the beauty wherein I can try and play along with the axes and have any desired configuration. Let me keep the font size for the task name to be bigger, and this kind of looks decent. What I'll next do is put over here my priority number. So let's see, right now I don't have the priority number, and I'll hard code to display this flag as 1. I'll put a container inside which I'll put a simple text as 1, and in fact in the style I'll change the text style to just demonstrate with a white color. Now, do you notice there's an outline border to this? So I'll put a decoration as outline border, outlined border, and I think I'm trying to do one small mistake. This should be box border. Well, let me try seeing the documentation, and if I just check this, it shows box border. Well, I can also have border dot all. Well, yes, this worked. And then I'll mention the width as 2 and the color as color constants dot key purple color. Well, that's because as you would see in the design, this has got a purple color, and let me check how does this thing look like. Well, it kind of is squeezed. That's because in the main axis alignment I did not give a space between, and now one is kind of right aligned. What I'll next to do is drag your attention to the flag icon. So within the container, once again I'll put a row in which I will be having an icon, icons dot flag, and I'll keep it with white color. Yeah. Now, do you notice the flag is actually getting squeezed along with the borders? Hence, I'm not going to do, and I'll have some padding of 6 pixels around the container. Yeah, this looks kind of decent. Now, if you don't want the sharp edges to be there, you can change the border radius and have something like a 6, something like this rounded edges with the help of border radius dot circular as 6. Well, this now kind of looks decent, and also there is this functionality with which I can do delete and edit. Now what I'll try and do is in the next session show to you how we can implement this delete and edit, but in a good manner. Hopefully the entire design for the app along with the slidable motion was very satisfying and smooth. Now I'm going to take to one step ahead wherein I decided to break the entire display task screen into two different sections for the UI design. In the next part, I'm going to discuss how the user experience could be improved on the display task screen, wherein things are going to be well much more organized. We are going to put the priority icon, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the priority of the task is. More upon the time duration in which the task has to achieve will be displayed on the card. All of that we're going to do in the design, and for that stay tuned and keep learning with Hooping Minds.